Hey, mamas, you are listening to the Motherhood is Ghetto podcast. We all know motherhood can be a beautiful thing, but girl, it can also be ghetto. Join me as we discuss some of the best and worst parts of being a mom raising kids, all while trying to figure out this thing called life. This ghetto is a safe space, mamas. So, welcome to the hood. Hey mamas, welcome back to another episode of Motherhood is Ghetto. My name is Joy, and how y'all doing out there? If y'all doing all right, say amen. Oh, it's been a minute. How have you guys been? How have you guys been? Summer is over. Well, the weather summer is not over, but summer break is over for the kiddies, and it's back to normal life, reality life. At least for me and my kids, it is. But it's been a minute since I had a podcast or put up a podcast, so I thought I would come in and check on you mamas and see how your first week of back to school went. So for here in Las Vegas, it is school's already back in session. School started back last week. It was the first week of school. So I wanted to check in with you moms that also had kids go back to school last week and see how your week went. How did back to school shopping go? How did the first day of school go? How did the week progress for you? How did you prep, if you did any prep? Just how was the week for you? Are you okay? Are we all okay? Amen. So I just wanted to talk with you guys about how our first week of school went with me and the kids. So that's pretty much what this episode's gonna be. It our week was definitely filled with. So let me just start off by saying this. Usually I always take off the first week of school. I always put in time off at work so that way I'm home the very first week of school. And I started doing this a while ago because when when I had two children in school, both my son and my daughter, I would always find that that first week of school there was always something going on to where someone didn't catch the bus or something happened at the school and I would have to go up there. And it just seemed like every year, like that first week was a very rough transition, especially for my son who is autistic. So I can't remember what year I started, but I remember just being like, you know what? Just the first week of school, I'm always going to take off just so that way I can be prepared for anything, any mishaps that may happen, any issues with the bus, all that stuff. So I took this last week off to get my kids back in their routine, figure out how things were going to go with scheduling because this year I have all three of my kids going to different schools. I know. I know. I, I know. I feel the pain too. So, this is a new experience for us and having three kids in three different schools, uh different different school start times, different dismissal times, different bus schedules. All that stuff played a factor this year, so I wanted to be as prepared as I could be. So, but before we get into that, let's start off with back to school shopping. So, of course, we all did the back to school shopping, getting new clothes, new shoes, school supplies, all that good stuff. Luckily for me, school supplies I didn't have to worry about. One of my husband's very good friends, ever since he passed for the last couple of years, has made sure the kids had all the school supplies that they need to start the new year. So shout out to them. I really, really do appreciate them for doing that for my kids because they don't have to, but they always do. So, luckily for me, I didn't have to spend any of my own money getting their school supplies. However, I did, spend money on getting their clothes and their shoes and all that good stuff. So the other day, one of the financial budgeting pages that I follow on Instagram had asked the community, what did you spend on back to school for your kids? Because she's saving money to she doesn't have any kids of her own, but she was saving some money to help out her nephews because she really loves her nephews and she wanted to help out with their back to school. And she was saying she had $550 saved, so that she can get them a couple things in addition to what their parents are already getting for them. And so she asked her community, like, what are you guys spending on back to school? Like, is 550 enough? And there was some people like, no, it's definitely not enough, depending on your kids' taste, like if they like brands or if they're into expensive type of clothes. So 550 is definitely not enough. And then one parent was like, I spent $1,300 on one teenager. Excuse me? I was like, what? $1,300 on one child? And I get it. I get it it because teenagers these days, they want the Jordans, they want the expensive clothes, they want the name brands, all that good stuff, and that's cool. That's cool if you're able to buy things like that for your child and it doesn't put a strain on you. Like that's cool. Like I 100% support that. More power to you because I really do believe that children just like adults, like when they look good, they feel good. So when they're wearing things that they could look at themselves and like, I look good in this, then in turn it helps their self-esteem. It helps their mental when they go into the world with people that kids be judging kids and looking like. So I'm all for it. If it makes your child happy and you're able to afford to do it, by all means. However, for me, not saying that I cannot afford to do that, I just I told my kids even before we went back to school shopping, I said we are sticking to a strict budget because we are saving our money very aggressively right now. So I was like, we're sticking to a budget, we're sticking to a limit of shirts, pants, shoes, like we're sticking to a budget. So for us in total, for all three of my kids, I spent roughly $600. We were in the $600 range. And this is including socks, underwear, shoes, pants, and shirts for everyone. And what I did was one, I made a limit. So I was like, everyone is getting four shirts, four pair of pants, one hoodie, because I know they like to wear them damn hoodies in the middle of summer. Everyone gets one hoodie and everyone gets one pair of shoes. Now, the only stipulation that I had, like to where I was like, you cannot get this, is I told them, I said, we are not getting any Jordans. So just erase it from your mind. We are not doing Jordans. But I didn't tell them like they could, like, I didn't tell them what kind of shoes to get. I just told them no Jordans. So that everything else is up, Nike, Adidas, Puma, whatever they wanted. I was like, you guys can get that, but we're not doing Jordans. We're not because we need to save money and we got plans and we got goals. So, and one thing that I also did this year that I don't think I did in previous years, I let them pick out their clothes that they wanted. And to me, my children are still young, so it was like my motherly instinct to want to pick out their clothes for them and try to find like the bargains for them. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take a level of stress out of this process for me because I already don't like shopping. I hate shopping. I hate going to stores. I hate everything that goes along with shopping. Shopping just wasn't my thing. It isn't my thing. Amen. And luckily, back then, I had a husband who loved to spend money and loved to go shopping. So he would usually do like the picking out the clothes for the kids, like going through the racks and finding like finding like the shirts that are on clearance. Like he was really good at that type of stuff. For me, I I feel like I used to like shopping before I had kids, like when I didn't have any kids and I was just shopping for me. I felt like I enjoyed it more, but since having kids, I absolutely hate shopping, and especially for multiple people, it overstimulates me and I get very stressed out very easily. So, anywho, I was like, let me just take out a level of stress out of this process and let them choose what they want. So that's what we did, and it went a lot smoother than I thought it would. For my daughter, I absolutely thought I was gonna have to step in because my daughter is so indecisive, y'all. She every when you ask her a question, the first thing that comes out of her mouth, 100% is I don't know. Like that is her go-to. I don't know. Genesis, what do you want to eat for dinner? I don't know. Genesis, what do you want to do for your birthday? I don't know. And it's like girl, like, and I told her one day, I was like, you have to be certain of something. You can't continue growing into adolescence and adulthood not knowing and not having a plan. That you got to start training your mind, like you need to know what you want, or else someone is going to come by and tell you what you want, and you don't want that. Amen. We know that's not what you want. So, but anyway, that's another story. So, so I didn't have to step in as much for her. I just had to redirect her sometimes and be like, look, we're looking for shirts. This is what your focus is. Look for your four shirts. And and with my boys, they are I love my boys to death. They are so easy. So with my boys, one of them doesn't mind wearing jeans. The other one does not like jeans. So I was like, when we were shopping for them, I'm looking for my youngest and I'm like, oh, do you like these jeans? And I started to revert and like try to pick his clothes for him. And he was like, Mom, you know I don't like jeans. And I was like, oh shit, I forgot. I was like, you know what? You what do you want? What do you want? And he said, I want shorts and sweatpants. I was like, do you want jean shorts? He's like, no, like basketball type shorts, like those type of shorts. I was like, okay. So I let him pick his shorts and his little pants, his little joggers or whatever. And then my other son doesn't mind jeans, and he just doesn't want them to be too skinny. He doesn't like the super skinny jeans, and he doesn't like them to look super baggy. He just likes that like slim look. And I was like, okay. So he picked out his jeans. They all picked out their shirts, their graphic tees, all that good stuff. So it was a really easy process. Also, too, what I did this year, I did not overcomplicate things because I know that my kids aren't particularly into name brand clothing. So I was like, we're shopping at Target and Walmart. We're shopping at Target and Walmart for the clothes, and we went to the mall for shoes. So it was super easy. It was a very whimsical day. We were shopping, we were having fun, just being with each other. So that was really cool. And I'm proud to say that like I only spent $600 between all three of them, like all together, because like I really feel like Target and Walmart, they got some really good stuff. Like they got some good clothes. It's on trend, so whatever my kids are wearing, they don't look like they're behind. And I know like trends and stuff, it's important to some kids and not so much. But my kids just really want to look good in their clothes. So, so for us, Target and Walmart did the trick. So that's where we shopped. And I was pleased with the $600 that we spent. I feel like we got some good stuff. And especially like with the socks and the underwear, like all that good stuff, like I feel like we did good. We did good for our back to school shopping excursion. So now we're through with that. Now it's the first day of school. So, and mind you, Sunday night or Saturday and Sunday, I did my daughter's hair. Yes, it was a 2 day process because, yeah. And I decided after I did her hair, I'm officially retiring from doing her hair. Amen. I'm going to start taking her to go get a wash and a blowout every other month. And uh, maybe a protective style if she chooses, maybe not. But I'm officially retired because the way my hands be cramping up doing her hair, and on top of that, I do my son's hair. I do their retwists. And even today, I'm about to do my own hair today. I'm about to put in some lock extensions on my own hair. So I'm officially going to retire from doing her hair and let the professionals take over because it's getting to be a little too much for me. But anywho, so first day of school, everyone is dressed, looking their best. Everyone is excited to go. And mind you, my son Solomon, he's entering into his 6th grade year, so this is his first time in middle school. So we were nervous about that, but I'll talk about that too. My youngest, he's still in elementary school, but he's there by himself. This is the first year he's ever been at school without either of his siblings there. And then Genesis is entering into the 8th grade, baby girl. She growing up. My Solomon and Genesis go to two different middle schools. So, but my goal once they all enter into high school is that they all go into the same high school. I will not have it any other way because and once my youngest gets to the middle school with his brother, like it'll be a little bit easier for me. But right now I'm struggling a little bit, but that's okay. We figured out what we're gonna do before after school, so it's all good. So first day of school, everyone's feeling good, everyone's dressed, everyone looking good, haircuts, hair done, everybody looking good. So um So I drop off everyone on their first day of school, drop them off at the school, and I tell my two older children, like, okay, you guys ride the bus home. I'll pick you guys up at the bus. And for my youngest, I was like, I'll be here after school for you. So so my son Solomon, again, he is autistic. So with his busing, it's a little bit different. His busing is curb to curb. So like with my daughter, she goes to an actual bus stop at the high school. But with Solomon's bus, it comes right to our house, like right to our neighborhood. And when he goes to school and he leaves from school, someone escorts him out to his bus, because he is special education, so he gets escorted out to his bus and it comes to the house to drop him off and all that good stuff. So I told my son before I let him out the car, I said, "Are you taking the bus home?" I downloaded the bus app on his phone so that way he could see where his bus was, what his bus number was. And I said, "I will see you when you get home." So it's 2 o'clock. School lets out. He's the first one to get dismissed from school out of the three kids. So it's 2 o'clock. I'm watching the bus on the bus app. The bus is at the school. Perfect. I'm like, okay, easy breezy. So, and of course, because the first day there's lots of traffic, nobody knows where they're going. I was expecting the bus to be late. No worries. That's how it is all the time on first day of school. So the bus is coming into the neighborhood because I'm watching it on the app. So I go walk out there to wait for my son to get off the bus. So the bus pulls up and she opens the door and she said, "What's your child's name?" I said, "Solomon." And she said, "Solomon." And there's no Solomon on the bus. And she's like, "I'm so sorry. I don't have him." And she was like, but I'm the bus driver and this and that, and I'll be picking him up and dropping him off, but I don't have him. He didn't get on the bus. So I was like, okay. I was like, no worries. I'm going to go find him. It was nice to meet you. And this is this type of stuff. This is why I say I always take the first week off, because this type of stuff I anticipate for. So I didn't get upset or anything like that. I was like, let me go find my son. So I'm trying to call him and his phone is off. And I'm like, okay, all right. Let me just think about this for a minute, because I know my son. I know my son wouldn't get on the wrong bus. If anything, he just wouldn't get on any bus at all. Seeing that he knows what his bus number is, he knows that. So I know my son is still at the school. So that was what I deduced in my head. I was like, my son is still at the school. I can't confirm it because his phone is off, and the last location that the phone was at home. So the location had an update on the phone. So I was like, he's at school. I know he is. So as I'm walking, and by this time it's like 3 o'clock. You guys, school let out an hour ago, and it's almost time for my other kids to get out of school. So I'm like, okay, I gotta find him, but I gotta find him quick, so that way I can get my other kids. And as I'm walking back to the house to get my keys and hop in the car, my phone rings and it's Solomon. And he says, Mom, my bus is really late, like super late. And I was like, no, baby. I was like, your bus wasn't late. You just didn't get on the bus. But no worries, I'm on my way. And now, when I'm on my way to get him, at this point, I'm starting to get pissed off because of the fact that my son specifically has it in his IEP. And, just as far as special education protocol, he is supposed to be escorted out to his bus. So this little mishap lets me know that he was not escorted properly to his bus, and there was someone dropped the ball. So I wasn't really upset with my son, and I wasn't upset with the bus driver, but I was like, let me figure out what happened when I go get my son. So I told my son, I said, I'm on my way, meet me at the front office, because I'll be in the office because I need to talk to somebody. So I get to the school, I'm waiting for him to come to the office. And then I get clarity. I'm like, where does the buses pull up? What part of the school does the bus pull up at? So the lady told me. I was like, cool, thank you. So then this lady brings my son to the office, and she's like, yeah, I'm so sorry, Mom. He doesn't have a bus driver yet. They're still trying to look for a driver for him. And I said, he has a driver. He has a bus driver. He has a bus number. His bus was here. He just didn't get on it. So I need to figure out why he didn't get on it. And so the lady's looking at me like confused, and she was like, no, no, a bus didn't come for him. And I said, yes, it did. And then I pulled up my phone. I was like, I have the app. I have the bus app. The bus was here. The bus came to my home, and my son was not on the bus. So I told, and before I could catch the words coming out of my mouth, they just came out of my mouth, y'all. Like, and I told her, I said, so you're lying to me. And she like took like a step back and like kind of like gasped, like as if like she wasn't lying. And I was like, so you're lying to me, because I met the bus driver and she didn't bring my son home, and I have the app that says the bus was here. So what is it? He doesn't have a driver, or he does. Like, he doesn't, or he does. But I know he does. So, and I guess like my voice started to get a little bit irritated, a little bit agitated, because she was lying to me and my son in our face, and had my son believing that his bus never showed up when indeed the bus was there. So At this point, the assistant principal has overheard us, and he walks over and he says, "I'm sorry, excuse me." He said, "Ma'am, can you come to my can you and your son come to my office?" So I was like, "Sure, sure, we could do that." And and he was apologizing, and he was asking Solomon, what's your sixth period? And he was like, okay, tomorrow, I'm printing your schedule now. Tomorrow I'm making my priority to make sure that you get to the right bus. And here's the thing, when because on his little badge it has his bus number. And the lady that I was speaking to, she was like, no, his bus didn't show up. And she was like, I looked at his bus number, and she looked at his badge, and she was like, his bus number is 207. And she looked again, and it was not 2000, or it was not 207. She was like, oh, I had the wrong bus number. And she was like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, it's okay. But so where my thing is, and like I said, this is why I always take the first week off, is like you weren't aware my son was special education. So because and again, I'm not being too hard on her, because I know it's the first day. Everybody's looking for everything. Kids are confused. Like, I understand that. But like my son, it's not, it's on his badge. Like, they can clearly see, like, my son is a part of special education, so he's supposed to be treated with a certain level of care. And not that my son is not capable. It's just a part of his daily routine. It's a part of it, and it's in his IEP. So whatever is in his IEP is law, so you have to follow that. And and it was just the lack of awareness for me. It was how quick she was to lie to me, and not like ask questions first. Ask me, did you communicate with the bus driver? We didn't see his bus. Like, ask the questions first before you just start saying he doesn't have a bus driver, because he does. And I made sure that he knew how to search his bus and look at that stuff, because I do teach my children, how to be self-sufficient and look at the facts for themselves. They're holding damn computers in their hands. Like, they're holding a whole computer in their hands, and they need to use it. Use it as a resource. It's not just something to play video games on or to look at TikTok on all day. It's a resource. So, talked to the assistant principal, got everything ironed out, and so far so good. This first week, the rest of the week went off without a hitch. Um, there is something though that I need to address with the school as far as his IEP, but once I figure out what's going on with that, I'll give y'all an update, because yeah. there- Yeah, there's some things we got to clear up, and I have to make sure they have his IEP. But anyway, so we got that all cleared up. Everything's going good. Other kids, I was able to scoop them on time, so everyone had a first great day of school, and the rest of the week progressed very smoothly. So yeah, so everyone is off to the races. Everyone's doing good. Homework, everyone's on track with their homework, getting their homework done after school, doing their chores. So we're back into our normal routine. Amen. So I feel confident going back to work this week, and we've got a plan for after school. We've got our plan before school. They got their things to do after they get home, and we're back into our normal routine. So first week I feel like was a success, even though we had that small hiccup. First week was a success, in my opinion. And I'm 100% confident that we're going to have a great school year this year. I pray that you all and your babies have a great school year this year. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So, between back to school shopping, between first day of school, first week of school, all that good stuff, I would say we won. I would say that mission accomplished. It was successful. And yeah, so I'm feeling pretty good. Kids are feeling good. And yeah, yeah, that's pretty much it. So I guess I'm going to land the plane here. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Thank you so much. And I do have some things that I'm working on with the podcast. Y'all, I made a decision to go back to video podcasting. So if you've been with me since the beginning, I started doing video podcasts on like the first leg of episodes for this podcast because Spotify offered where you can like upload video podcasts. So in my very first podcast, if you go way back, you can see, if you listen on Spotify, you can see that I had uploaded some video podcasts. And I think that I'm going to go back to that, but I'm going to use a different program. So right now I'm learning how to use said program to start doing video podcasting. And I really think that I'm kind of excited about it because I feel like it's unlocking a level of creativity for me, which I feel like I've been like thirsty for. Like I've been thirsty like to be more creative and just like get my creative juices flowing. So, and I really love like video editing. I love editing this podcast. So, I figure why not do video podcasting again? See how that works. I also am looking into having like some guests on the podcast too. Amen. So it's not just always me talking, and we could talk about topics that are out, I feel like are really important for us moms, things that we need to know, things that we should be talking about but don't talk about too often. So I'm really got some plans going for the podcast. So just stick with me, okay? Amen. Stick with me. And I promise it's going to be good. It's going to be fun. It's going to be entertaining. And above all else, it's going to be helpful. Amen. My whole goal with this podcast is to be helpful and be of service to you, mamas, and offer a resource or just even like a shoulder just to know that like I'm in it with y'all too. In the trenches with y'all. We all going through this motherhood together. And any way I can be helpful to you all and insightful to you all and inspiring to you all, that's my only goal with this podcast. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and land the plane here. Thank you again so much for tuning in today. If you haven't already, go ahead and follow me on Instagram at motherhood_ghetto. You can keep up with me there. I post funny memes and videos there about motherhood. Also, too, you can DM me on Instagram if you want me to discuss any topics on motherhood or if you have any questions for me in general about motherhood or anything that I do with my children that you'd like me to share on the podcast. My DMs are wide open. Amen. So you feel free to drop me a line there. Also, um, the Motherhood is Ghetto self-care journal for mothers is still available on Amazon. It is still rocking on Amazon. Amen. I will have it linked in the show notes. So if you'd like to pick up a copy and support your favorite parenting podcast host, amen, it's still available on Amazon to purchase. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I got. So until next time, mamas. Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. Don't forget to follow the podcast and share with anyone who you think may enjoy it. And follow me on Instagram at motherhood_ghetto. Also, feel free to DM me if you have any experiences, opinions, or views on motherhood you'd like me to share on the podcast. Until next time, mamas.